Hi everybody, I'm Sarah and welcome to the Big Blue House Homestead. I'm sitting here with my collection of seeds and I've got some that I've already saved, but I'm here to talk about the importance of saving seed this year. Basically, if you don't know how to save seeds, it's very, very simple. It's a very simple process. For every plant that you put in the ground, every fruit that's produced or vegetable will give you a seed. And that seed is so easy and simple to save. I'm not going to go through all the details in saving seeds. I just want to talk about the importance of it. Now, you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. Reality is that everybody's gardening. It's hard to get a hold of seeds. It's hard to get a hold of plants, and you can't find stuff anymore. I hit a cold spell in the early part of my spring, and I'd already planted my squash, and then we had a frost coming. So I had no choice but to cover them, and I was terrified that I was going to lose the squash. Now, the reason why I was scared was because I only had a couple seeds left of some of my varieties. Like my Amish pie pumpkins, I only had 2 seeds left. And if they died, then I had no more pumpkins. So I needed those plants to thrive. All of the yellow squashes that I planted the last of my seed. I didn't order seeds this year. I didn't go pick up seeds at the store. I didn't do any of that because I was trying to use up the last of my inventory in my seed saving box. I mean, it's completely full. But the problem was that I didn't have anything to replace it in case I lost those. So I talked to my father and was telling him my dilemmas about the squash and how I needed some of these seeds. And luckily he had those seeds because I went everywhere. And I could not find the seeds that I needed. So he sent me those seeds. That way I would have them just in case. Now my squash survived and it did well, but that just means now I have extra seed to put into the ground. So as I start pulling plants, I can do a second crop of my squash if needed, and I have the seeds for that. But I can also save seed from everything that I have out there. Now, when I talk about saving seeds, very simple processes. Think about your plants. Your plants are there for a purpose, and the first purpose is to be planted. Then that seed opens and grows. When that seed grows, it then produces a plant. Then that plant produces a fruit. When that fruit is formed, it then puts the seed into it. That seed is what gives you your hope for your next garden season. So every plant is different, and what it basically tells you is that they're thanking you for giving them the opportunity to thrive and grow, and they're giving you those little seeds of hope and saying thank you. Most of your plants are going to tell you when they're done. I have radishes that are already bolting. I have lots of bolted plants throughout my garden at the moment that I'm going to go save seed from today. But they'll tell me when they're done. They'll say, I've had enough. They'll shoot up their stems. They'll produce their pretty little flowers. And then all those little wonderful seeds come underneath that. I have a lot of seed saving knowledge. I purchase books. I watch videos. And I gather all the information I can so that I can save seed. And what I mean by that is simple things like I grew way too many zinnias last year and I saved a ton of seeds from them. But I always have zinnia seeds now. I grew heads of dill and saved seeds from those as well. This can be eaten or planted, and it's straight up perfect, beautiful seed that will continue to grow in my garden. When you look at a lot of my seeds, like you can see all the packets here, but look at all that I've saved. Every Ziploc bag that I have in here is from my own garden, from my own hard work. It saves me money, it saves me time, and then I can save the things that I like the most. So, moving forward, looking at more and more, I'm trying to find a good example. Yeah. All right. I love melons. I grow a lot of melons. See my seed packets? Now see all my seeds I saved? I mean, that is full of bags of melon seeds. Easy, easy, easy. You don't have to put in a whole lot of work or effort. You just have to take the time to let those plants mature enough to actually give you a seed. Now, when I tell you I'm crazy and I like to save seeds, I learned a good method this year from Peanuts Peppers. He taught me how to put my seeds in a trash bag. So let me show you. You see that? That's collard greens. That's a whole garbage bag full of collard green seeds. So I'm going to show you how I save those. All right, giant garbage bag. Now he just fluffed his up, but I just want to show you an individual pod in here. And later on, I'll show you the whole process. But all I did was cut all the stems off my collard greens because they were covered in these little pods. These little pods actually hold my seed. So it's kind of windy. I don't know if this will work as great, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to crack this open. And split it down the center as much as I can. And all my seeds should start to fall out. So you can see I've already got seeds starting. Very simple. All I had to do was open a pod to get the seeds. Lots of plants will produce pods. Most of your brassicas will, which are your cabbages, broccolis, cauliflowers, kales, things of that nature, leafy green stuff. They'll produce pods. Radishes do as well. A lot of other things produce like flower heads that you have to save. And then there are other ways that you do it with, you know, actual flowers and pulling them off and the seeds hidden behind the dried little bud spot, things like that. We'll get into that as my garden produces and I start to have more and more seed to, you know, save. I'll teach you guys all about the different ways. But let's go walk around and let me show you what I have to do today because I have a lot of seed to save. I haven't been putting it off. I've just been letting them mature. And it's a spot in my garden that hasn't been taken up by an unuseful item. It's giving me seed, and that's important. But we're going to talk about all the seeds that I have going now that I'm getting ready to save. And then I'm going to show you some ideas on how you can save seeds yourself. Okay, not all of your seed can be saved in the first year. These are actually carrots. I put them into buckets for the whole purpose of getting seed. And this is the second year, and they're now producing flower heads. So you can see this is a brand new flower head. And this one has a ladybug, so I'm going to be careful. But that's a fully matured flower head. Each one of those individual flowers is going to produce a seed for me. When you think about it and you look at all of these flower heads forming and starting to produce, all of that is seed. This is enough carrot seed to hold me for at least my next 2 years. I've still got more coming up, lots and lots of smaller plants in here. And so I'm going to be good and I'm going to be set with seed. But what I did was I just took these and I put them separate from my garden. And that way I knew not to pull them and eat them. And I let them grow. No hard work. I just kept them watered and there we go. So as soon as these start to die off, the flowers, and the seeds are produced, I just have to save them and I have carrots. All right, this was a couple kohlrabis that I just let go to seed. All I have to do now is come through and clip them. But these are the pods I was talking about, these big long pods. That holds all the seed for this plant. So to save these seeds, this is all the hard work I'm putting into it. I let the plant mature, I let it produce the seed, and now I'm just coming through and giving it a haircut. That's it. All I have to do now is put these somewhere to dry. I can string them up, I can put them into a bag, whatever I prefer, but yeah, I've got seed now. Okay, everything over here is my herbs and then my lettuces. And you can see how my lettuce here is getting very, very tall. Well, it's getting ready to start producing flowers. And those flowers are going to provide my seed. So I have enough lettuces going to bolt to give me that. Along with that, I also have my second year of parsley, which is this one over here. I've let it go to seed. So it'll start to produce, and then I'll have parsley next year. The same with this cilantro. Cilantro bolts very quickly because it doesn't like a lot of heat. And so yeah, that's an easy one to get seeds from. All you have to do is plant it, harvest it once or twice, and then you get flowers, and then you get seeds. And it's so simple. I mean, so easy and simple. Okay, so these were kalettes. I grew these. And the importance for me with these is that I planted kalettes this year and I lost them all to my deer. The deer came through and ate every single one. I've already been saving a lot of seed from it because I think it's very important for me to get these kalettes this year. But I can't have any more because I'm out of seed. So this is what's going to provide me my next crop, are these little pods. And again, very simple, nothing hard to do. Just give your plant a little haircut and it's good to go. And so now I have all of these seeds. Now each one of these pods usually holds 8 to 10 seeds in there. So if you're not looking to mass produce seed, you can easily come through and pick, 5 or 6 pods, maybe 10 or 20, just a handful. And that way you have enough seed for what you may need. All right, so these are my sugar snap peas. And unfortunately my crop didn't do as well as I wanted. I actually have plants falling over. So instead of picking these when they're nice and soft and tender, I'm letting them get fat and I'm letting them fill up. Letting your peas mature to full length and full growth actually gives you a mature seed. And that's the importance of having to wait just a little extra time just to get the seed the right way. If it's not matured enough, you're not going to get a plant out of it. So it's really important to let these stay and do what they need to do. Okay, these are actually my onions. They didn't do well for me and they didn't bulb up very big. I could probably still eat these as small onions because they're not squishy on the tops yet, but I planted these last year. I grew them through the season and you can see they've gone to little heads and those heads have become flowers. And each one of those flowers will give me a seed, so I won't have to purchase onion starts anymore. I'll have enough to purchase nothing. I mean, zero cost. And I sit there and I get to grow all of these as onions. Now looking at them, it's probably going to be about 50 seeds, if not a little bit more, 50 to 75. So that's a lot of seed. You know, that's more than enough, plenty. And I just left them. No big deal. There's still space in my bed to plant. These are just on the edge, and that's the whole purpose, is to save the seed from them. Okay, so with this radish patch, I have beautiful little radishes. I like these radishes a lot, and I'd like to be able to continue to grow them, but I can't do that without the seed. So this one's actually bolting, and it's getting little flowers on it, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it flower, and I'll probably designate 6 or 7 more of these to just give me seed. And that way I have seed for my next season, my next crop, when I want to replant. And it's perfect. It's exactly what I want to do. I still have space to plant more in between all of my plants. And as I remove them, I have space to plant there as well. So it's not going to give me a section that's wasted. It's giving me seed and an opportunity to plant around those. And so it works out perfectly for me. And so I encourage you to let things, when they tell you they're done, let them go to seed like this. Let them grow those little pods. Let them produce those seeds, because that's going to give you your future for food. And that's very, very important. That plant is a zinnia. I don't ever plant zinnias down this far. I usually plant them at the end of my beds, but that's from a seed that blew into my yard. And so I have zinnias growing already without even knowing. But that's what happened when I tried to save my seed for them. I got free seeds and free plants in my garden. On a happy note, my borage is starting to bloom. And I love these flowers. They taste like cucumbers. I like to designate spots in my garden beds for seed saving only. I have some lettuces, I have some chards, I have some kale back here, and this is all stuff I need seed from. So I leave it there for that. All right, this is a newer small little section. I planted carrots here and they didn't work out. So what I did was I planted some fennel, some more chard, and my leeks. And all of this is for seed saving only. So beside the radishes, I have a seed saving spot. Okay, so I showed you a little bit of what I have going on. I have a lot more to come. My garden's just been planted in the last couple of weeks. Things are starting to get taller and bigger. And I have a whole bunch of seeds that I get to save this year. A whole bunch. And I'll show you that down the road. Tomato seeds take fermentation. A lot of things just need to dry on a paper towel and kind of, stiffen up and get hard. There are processes for melon seeds and things of that nature as well. And I can show you all that later on. But I just wanted to show you, because right now, if you're looking at your garden as a failure because you planted all those radishes and they're all just going to flower, well, it's okay. It's not a failure. What it was that plant telling you its life cycle said, I could be your food or I could give you more food. And it's like that saying, you teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Well, if you let your plant bolt, then it feeds you for a lifetime. And so don't consider it a failure. Consider it an absolute pleasure and joy and satisfaction, because you are now getting free seed. You are now getting more to plant in your gardens throughout the rest of this season, as well as next year and possibly the next year, just depending on how many seeds you save. I mean, seriously, I'm going to have probably 1 million collard green seeds. I showed you 1 garbage bag full. I have 3. But I didn't do anything wrong. I ate the collard greens. I canned the collard greens. I froze the collard greens. I did everything I could with collard greens. And then it said, okay, we're done. What now? And they decided, well, you love us so much, we love you back. And so each of those little seeds are my little hope and love from my plants. And I'll grow collard greens for the rest of my life from those seeds if I needed. But I couldn't do that if I didn't keep those seeds. So it's very, very, very important to save seeds. Flower seeds come behind the petals. So when you have a flower form and then open up, behind each petal is actually going to hold a seed. And so you just let the plant itself, you know, produce the flowers, the flower heads die off, and then you take those heads off, and where all those dried petals are, you pull them out and there's a seed attached. Very easy processing. There's quite a bit of dilemmas, I would say, with people wanting to save seed because they think it's so much hard work, but it really honestly isn't. When you think about how everything produces a seed for you, the importance is that you save that seed to continue. Now, I get it. You're going to be growing things this year in your gardens that you may not like. Trying stuff out that, you know, you're like, oh, this is new. I don't know if I like it. Well, if you don't like it, don't save the seed. Or you could save the seed because you might meet somebody who likes it and they couldn't find the seed. And then they're like, hey, I really needed some kohlrabi seeds, but I couldn't find any. And then I could go, hey, I just dried a whole bunch of kohlrabi and I don't really care for kohlrabi, so here you go. But I like kohlrabi. But as an example, I could give them those seeds. So when I say it's important to save seeds, it's not just for you, it's for who may need it. It's also to provide security for yourself for growing the next seasons. And possibly if you want to venture into, you know, selling seeds and making some money, I've got 1 million collard green seeds and probably 700 loofah gourd seeds. And those seeds could provide money for me if I sold them, or they could provide, you know, thankfulness to friends if I give them to them. Or it could just be what I put back in my garden and grow on my own. So yeah, saving seeds are very important. I think it's the second step to gardening. The first step is to just get up and do it. And the second step is to save your seed so that you can continue to do it. Seriously. If you don't have the seeds, you can't grow a garden. You can't grow a garden unless you have the seeds. So if you keep flip-flopping that phrase back and forth, you don't garden unless you have seeds. So it's very, very important to save seeds. Now, like I said, as my season continues and I have things that bolt, I have things that go to seed, I have things that are maturing large, like squash, you got to get really, really big, and cucumbers really big to save the seeds. I'll do all that, and I'll share that knowledge with you guys as well, because you never know. It saves you a lot of money, too, if you grow from seed. I grew my entire garden this year, 100% from seed. Last year, I purchased 2 plants. I purchased a Pinot Noir pepper because I wanted a really good purple pepper, and that was the best one that I could find, and it was just from a big box store. And I also purchased pineapple sage, which smells beautiful, but I didn't like it in any culinary dish that I used it in, so I didn't even bother with that. I just let that one go. The year before that, I purchased 1 plant, and that was a chocolate mint plant for my daughter because I thought she would love it. And yeah, mint's very, very invasive. I planted it in a bucket with another type of mint, and now all you see is chocolate mint. It took over the entire bucket. So anyway, I planted my garden 100% from seed, 100%. There is not a single plant in there that I purchased. All of it is from seed saving that I've done. And like I said, I didn't buy seeds this year because I had no reason to. I had old stock that needed to get used up. When you save seeds for too long, they start to get lower germination rates. The seed value starts to, you know, wither down, and they're not as viable as before. And so if you do like me and you hoard a big box of seeds, you want to use up your old stock before you start buying new. Otherwise, you're going to end up one day with a box full of seeds that just don't want to grow. And that's not good. Not good at all. Well, anyway, like I said, I'll show you throughout the season how I save seeds. And we'll learn a lot of this together. There is some new stuff that I haven't gotten seeds from before, so we'll learn about that as well. But it's important. I think it's extremely important to save seeds this year. I wasn't going to save seed from my corn this year because I put out quite a few varieties and they cross-pollinate and all that stuff. And it wasn't, you know, something I was intending to do. But a friend of mine from the Awesome Homestead, he said, you may want to do that because you may not have seed next year. And I went, you know what, let me just go back to my inventory and see what I got. I looked and I had some seed left, but not enough to where if I needed to grow a mass amount of food. So I'm saving corn seed this year. It may not be the same corn I planted, but it's edible and it's corn. And if I can't find seed next year, I'll have my own seed. So it's very, very important. Okay, so I just want to encourage you guys to save seeds because I think it's so important. It's absolutely important. I'm going to head inside because I have work to do. I still have gardening to get done. I have a house that hasn't been cleaned in 2 weeks and it has to happen soon. So I'm going to go get some things done. But I thank you guys for stopping by, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.